Today I want to talk about the importance of setting boundaries, especially for empaths. If you're an empath, there's probably a few things that you experience overwhelmingly, and you are probably also pretty bad at setting boundaries. Empaths are naturally feeling the energy of other people all the time, 24/7. And if you haven't taken some time to get in touch with your power, this can be incredibly overwhelming and even painful. There are a whole bunch of things to be done about this, but one of the most important ones is the art of setting boundaries. So, some signs that you don't have healthy boundaries as an empath are that you experience a great amount of overwhelm frequently, that you experience an energetic burnout, a literal physical exhaustion from taking on too much energy, taking too much from other people, taking on other people's problems. Some other signs that you don't have healthy boundaries are that you have resentment inside of your relationships. For an empath, this can be the resentment that they don't understand you as much as you understand them. This can be resentment of a one-sidedness that you feel deeply inside of your relationship. Another sign is that you are always playing the savior, that you have people in your life for whom your sole purpose is to constantly be saving, helping, therapizing. Empaths end up in this position naturally. Part of it is because we like it, and another part of it is because we don't have the boundaries set in place. Boundaries are really the way that we are teaching other people how to treat us well. And everyone has different boundaries, but empaths tend to share some that are similar. Empaths don't set boundaries as frequently, partially because energetically they are not as naturally bound as most humans. So highly sensitive people have a natural energetic flow, and this means that boundaries aren't obvious to them. So if boundaries aren't very obvious to you, they're very hard to set. We also, when we do set boundaries with people, we feel the emotions that creates in whomever we're setting. And we have the experience of feeling other people's needs and having this innate desire to meet those needs, forgetting to put our own needs first, forgetting to take care of ourselves first. So step one, finding your boundaries. How do you find your boundaries? Anytime that you are energetically burnt out at the end of a day, that is a great sign that somewhere over the course of the day, you have had your boundaries overstepped. It's a good time to be reflective and look back on what your day consisted of. My guess is, as a highly intuitive and empathic person, you are going to know the moment that things got too far, that you didn't do anything about it at the time. Whenever you're in a conversation with someone, if you're starting to feel angry or resentful towards them, this is probably a good sign that a boundary is being overstepped. Any situation in which you feel like the victim of that situation, this is probably a good sign that your boundary is being overstepped. So, setting your boundaries really starts first with self-awareness. I have a whole bunch of tips and tricks I use for self-awareness, but whatever yours is, the main point is to be really feeling into your emotions on a moment-by-moment basis. You have to become really solid in what your values are, what matters to you, and where you've had too much, where you've taken on too much. Following these self-awarenesses, it's important to cultivate, along with them, self-acceptance. So many of us pretend that these are things that don't matter to us, pretend that we're totally fine, and criticize and judge ourselves for somehow needing a break or a moment to calm our emotions. When really, boundaries come from practicing radical self-acceptance for what you actually need and want in life. If you cannot find forgiveness and acceptance for those things, then you cannot teach others to treat those things properly within you. And then you have to actually set the boundary. That means speaking to someone before a situation has gotten out of hand to ask for what it is that you need, to let them know that this is your line. Now, for empaths, our lines are changing frequently. So it can be very helpful to have a few key phrases you use. One of these, for me in particular, is to say, listen, I love you. I understand you're going through pain, but I have to tell you, I just don't have the space right now. I'm happy to schedule a time when I might have the space. Maybe for me, it's a little earlier in the morning, before my decision fatigue, before my allotment of energy to give out during the day has been met. Or perhaps I can just say, I'm happy to call you, or if you want, you can write a letter, write it down, and I'll read it when I'm in an appropriate energetic space to do that. Sometimes those boundaries for empaths look a little bit more fluid, and that's okay. That's part of the self-acceptance. You have to be willing to appreciate that some days you're going to have boundless, infinite, limitless amounts of energy, and some days you're not. To this end, it's worth noting that boundaries are a very healthy thing to do and are also an important energetic sign that you are in a toxic relationship when they get crossed. So that means that, if someone has called you, an empath, you, their savior, you, the constant ear, if someone has called you and you say, listen, I really don't have the space right now, and they trample on you and become angry and resentful, then you've really learned a lot. I'll leave that little nugget right there. So, in short, empaths, it's time to accept your natural limitations as an empath. This can mean different things for different empaths, but usually it means controlling the amount of sensation and energy you take in on a day. That could mean controlling noise. That could mean controlling physical touch. That could mean putting a boundary on how many people you can have that empathic conversation with today. But these boundaries, they are your first and most important lifesaver as an empath. They are how you are going to go forward and use your gift for good instead of have it be a curse that weighs on you. I wish you guys luck.